All right. Thank you for joining in to today's Ragic office hour session. And let's get started by doing some recap on our latest feature. And today the latest feature I'm going to recap today is one of the more highly anticipated feature on Ragic. Because for quite a while, people has been asking, "Oh, can I just access the data that Ragic stores in a database, like in a SQL database?" And kind of surprisingly, Ragic doesn't really use a SQL database. We use a NoSQL database, so it's kind of hard for a lot of users to, especially users from the IT department, to make good use of the data because let's face it, a lot of IT departments are not that familiar with like RESTful APIs. So even though Ragic does have an HTTP RESTful HTTP API interface, the interface that a lot of IT departments are actually the most familiar with is SQL, and 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 also a lot of like reporting tools or other analytic tools or other enterprise tools, they support a SQL database by default. So a lot of times when users from IT departments will like to access their data on Ragic would like to access them through SQL. So we so this year, like, I think it's this just last month, we added support for syncing. Whoops. We added the support for syncing a SQL database, syncing a Ragic sheet to SQL. So let's say if we would like to, let me restart this configuration. So if I were to sync to a MySQL database, and all you need to do is to enter the IP address of the SQL database. Okay, we have MySQL database on Google Cloud SQL for us to sync to. So let me just enter the database name and username and password to the database user. Okay, so and we enter a table name. So now I've entered the credentials and the name of the table I would like to create for this sheet to synchronize the office hour question sheet. So I could just click save SQL sync config, and it's going to save to the database and test if the connection works. And if the connection works, then we could just click on sync now, and it's going to sync all the data on this sheet to the database. And on the first connection, it might take a little bit longer. We need to create the database and do everything. So now it's completely synced, and we can now go to the database. And this is MySQL test. So a test database of MySQL here, and let's use the Cloud SQL Studio to connect. This is called Ragic Sync, right? Ragic test. I think I have the password pasted on my clipboard, and here, and we see the office hour sheet here, and we can query it like this. So we have all of our records on the office hour question sheet right here, synchronized to the database. And whenever we click sync now, it's gonna synchronize the whole sheet to your SQL database table again. And if you have any other new updates, new records, or even record deletions is going to be reflected on your SQL database that you see right here. Okay, so let's suppose let me create a new record like test. My test question. Okay, and let's go back to the SQL database sync. Sync now. And this is not necessarily a manual sync because we will be adding an automated daily sync feature just next week. It's already testing and we're gonna be online next week. So you will be able to do a daily sync automatically of your certain sheet on Ragic to your SQL database. So let me go back to my database and run the query again. There should be okay, let's order. Well, I haven't used SQL database for a long time. By ID, DSC. What's wrong with my ordered? Is it like this? Oh, the limit. Yeah, after using Ragic, I haven't used a SQL database for such a long time. Okay, here's my test question right here. And of course, changes to the records will also be reflected, and I can also delete. Yeah, let me just delete my question. And let's do the synchronize again. Has it been deleted yet? All right. And now it's deleted. Okay. So the database, the SQL database that we support right now are MySQL, PostgreSQL, and Microsoft SQL Server, MS SQL. So these three are the database that we support right now. And if you would like to access your Ragic data on the SQL database, and you can take advantage of this feature and process your data further on your favorite SQL database. So I hope you like this feature and our feature recap, and let's get started on the questions. First question. Dynamic filtering for groups. Hi Jeff, once I asked but I have to do it again, please add a dynamic filtering possibility for groups by the tag or whatever. Since they have different sense, I don't want to see legal team under customers order and bookkeeping in the legal docs. I want to choose only between account teams or buying teams under particular sheets without scrolling every time from top to bottom. Well, we do have filtering for groups. We just doesn't support dynamic filtering for groups yet. And would be even better if you can see only groups available which are based on another field's value he just selected. Thank you. Groups. Yeah, that's what I mean. I know you will have lots of different groups and lots of different users that you would like. Oh, you would like to dynamic filtering by group. So a lot of different users you want to filter by groups. Yeah, let's go to a demo sheet. Okay, when we go to a demo sheet, this is select user. So actually you can filter user by groups. So not sure if you know this, and you should be able to filter users by groups, but this is fixed, so it's not based on another field on the same sheet, which is dynamic filtering. So filtering is already supported. And dynamic filter is already supported right now. I'm sorry, sir. Yeah, I do know that this is kind of under construction. Yeah, but I think this is already supported. Yeah, you should be able to filter employees on other sheets, on other fields on the user sheet. Yeah, so it's supported. So you will be able to add another filter based on one of the field on this sheet to match it with the group field on the user sheet. So that user groups, it can be contains and a certain value on this sheet. So maybe you have a select user group. So if you have a select group field here, and you will be able to, let me just start again. So we have a group field here, and you can go to the supervisor field, and you can make sure that you only display the users from this group. So you could say, oh, the Ragic user group must contain group. Yeah, and this should only. Okay, then let me do a screenshot. Yes, it's supported. Yeah, perhaps I should do a feature recap on this. Yeah, we add so much feature constantly, so I know it might not be the easiest thing to keep up, but yeah, we try to make Ragic as useful for everyone as possible. Filtering and dynamic filtering for user fields are now supported. You can go to a select user field and click on the gear icon to configure dynamic filtering for select user fields as below. Yeah, it's the overall configuration is almost exactly like our standard dynamic filter. So if you are familiar with our current dynamic filter, then there should not be much problem here. All right. Next question. Temp shutting system down from users. Okay. As a developer and system administrator, is there any way we can lock colleagues out with a custom message to complete end of month process, etc., instead of making everyone suspended, as this will cause issues with billing? Huh, interesting. Well, right now we don't have a feature for you to lock users out of the system completely. And yeah, so the way to do it would be to suspend the user. So I think the best way to do that is to change the access right setting for the sheets that you would like to lock them out to. You should be able to simply change the right to no right or view only, like viewer to viewer role, so that they cannot access the sheet. I think that would be a good alternative, so that No, I believe you usually you will have lots of different sheets in your system in your Ragic account, and in most cases you don't want to lock them out from every single sheet. So if you're doing the end of month process, you can simply change the access right setting for some colleagues to lock them out from those sheets or make them view only on those sheets. So I think that would be a much more flexible approach and supported feature wise right now. Sorry. Yeah. So right now we don't have a feature to lock out users without suspending them, but a more flexible approach. Users in a group and change the access right setting for them on the sheets that you would like to lock them out on. You can either change the access role to no rights or viewer to have this effect. Yeah, I think generally we would just change the access right for them during this period. All right, next question. Selectable related sheets recalculations. Okay. Hi Jeff, I would suggest a performance improvement feature. I believe it's a clear win-win for you and for customers at the same time. So I have a few highly loaded sheets with dozens of parent children. And it takes a lot of resource and time to get all those synchronized when the recalculate formulas is checked in the sheet setting. Meanwhile, there is actually no necessity to recalculate every related sheets. 1 to 2 basic sheets are fair enough to recalculate. Meantime, another recalculation synchronization are just waste of CPU. It becomes even more absurd if there are multi-version sheets in related. Then it would be recalculate one after one, what not only takes extra flops, but also put a lot of junk records in the activity log. See the picture attached. It all happens after a single action performed by the user. So the log looks like this. Yeah. We do see this pattern, especially for larger accounts. They have very complex sheets and multiple versions and parent children. Yeah, this is a problem for you and also a problem for us. That's totally true. The cleanest solution here, in my humble opinion, is to add a feature for admins where they might to determine which sheet and version have to be recalculated, synchronized after user changes a record, not touching everything across the database. What do you think? Yeah, I do think this is a really good idea, but still, this will only be. I would guess that this will only affect some more power users, because in my experience, like I would think most users, they will not be bothered by such complex configuration, because I would imagine that this could be a kind of complex configuration. Or maybe not. Maybe they can just simply choose the sheets that would be recalculated after this change, or doing link and load sync on. So yeah, maybe a simple drop down choosing the sheets that should be recalculated or link and load synced could be a good way for system admins to save resources for the server and make the process, the recalculate process faster. Yeah, I think this is an excellent idea. Yeah, we've always thought that these kind of configurations would be not that practical for users, but we do have lots of power users over the years who have very complex sheets and understands Ragic very well. And most of the times, these kind of problems are for these kind of complex database with powerful administrators. So I do think this is a pretty good idea that our development team can look into. Thank you for your system admins do more customized configuration for sheets to sheets to all right. Okay. Yes, thank you for the suggestion. I think this is very useful. All right, and that's it for the questions for today. And this concludes our Ragic Office Hour session for today. And thank you for joining in. If you have any other questions, feel free to use our Office Hour question sheet right here to ask your questions, and I will answer them in 2 weeks. Thank you. Goodbye.